Okay, delighted to join none other than Carolina Millan to the latest episode. I know she's going to chastise me for the poor pronunciation of my Spanish is extremely poor and pronouncing her surname, but it's great to have her on board, lifestyle entrepreneur and mentor to thousands. So, Carolina, I hope you're doing really well today. I know you're in lovely Chile at the moment, and tell us how you're getting on.
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Not at all, not at all. Great to have you on board. So you might give us a background of yourself and what's brought you to doing what you do today and who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been online since 1996, but officially as an entrepreneur since 2008. That's when I really took the internet seriously as a way of doing business. Before that, it was just a hobby, and I got started because I was at my job, and it was my first job, fresh out of university. And a few months into the job, I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I started looking for alternatives. I started wondering, okay, is this all there is? Is there something else I can do? Is there a way to be independent? And of course, I went to university, and I studied business and entrepreneurship, but not in the way that it is today, but in a very, very old-fashioned way. So entrepreneurship sounded really hard. And then when I went online and I started doing some research, I saw all these people using the internet as a way to provide services and make money and do business. And the first attempt that I had was a network marketing company. I had a colleague approach me at work, and she offered me to join her network marketing company. I said, okay, let's check it out. I watched the presentation. It looked cool. And so I joined, and that's what really drove me to figure out how to do it, because I had no idea, and she had no idea either. The person who referred me, she told me the usual stuff, make a list of friends and family and everybody you've ever met and just approach them and offer them this thing. And of course, that didn't work. So I started following a few experts, and all of them were saying, you need to be on social media, you need to be on social media. So especially at the time, 2008, Twitter was really hot back in 2008. So that was the first social media that I really used to position my personal brand, to meet new people. I mean, I was barely on Facebook at the time. And slowly, actually it wasn't that slow. It was actually pretty fast. Within 3 months, I gained a few thousand followers, which was a big deal back then because there weren't that many users in my country. And I started to draw some attention. I got magazines, local magazines, asking me, "Hey, what are you doing? Why do you have so many followers? Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm just using it to meet new people and to brand myself, unlike other people who are just using it to tell people what they're eating." So I saw the value, and I started reading a lot of content, just educating myself on digital marketing, because I learned traditional marketing in school and university, but I didn't know much about digital marketing, so I had to teach myself all of that. I started following some gurus, watching YouTube videos, buying some online courses, and then slowly really getting familiar with it while I was still at my job. And my dream was to be able to quit my job and generate an income from my computer anywhere in the world, or at home where I am right now. And that took a little longer than that, but at least I can tell you it was about 2010 that I was starting to get clients, people asking me, "Hey, so it looks like you figured out this Twitter thing and the social media thing. Can you help me in my business?" So I had a lot of local businesses, like a couple restaurants and stuff like that, approach me to help them with their Twitter strategy. So I said, okay, maybe I can replace my salary. And so I did, and I quit my job in 2010, about 2.5 years into my job. And from then, it was a bit of a struggle, because obviously when you are dependent on clients, especially local clients and restaurants, that kind of business, They don't always have the budget to invest that much in consulting and social media management and all of that. So it was a bit of a struggle to not only keep the clients but get new clients, and so I did manage for a couple of years. But I knew there had to be something better, because I was still depending on my time. I still had to trade time for money to work with these specific clients.
So what brought you to becoming then the entrepreneur that you are in kind of, what moved the dial forward for you?
It was affiliate marketing, really, because I had heard about affiliate marketing before. While I was doing the network marketing company and researching all these experts, they were also talking about affiliate marketing. Okay, so what is affiliate marketing? How is it different? And one of the main differences was that affiliate marketing, you didn't necessarily have to buy the product yourself. Not always. Sometimes you do in some companies. But you were not tied to this auto shipment of products, and you didn't have to recruit people, but you could just recommend the product and make a commission. And so I kept pursuing that while I was doing my social media consulting. And it was 2012 that I finally made a commission through affiliate marketing. So it took me about 4 years to really get to where I wanted, which was I want to make money from the internet, not necessarily from a client locally. So yeah, that's from then on, that's what really helped me get a more exponential growth from where I was the first 4 years.
And that's what really brought you forward. Excellent stuff, Carolina. Great to get the full background on yourself. So bearing that in mind, you've obviously built quite a personal brand. So what would your advice be to someone who wants to go about building a personal brand?
I mean, what I did to build my brand was basically add as much value as I could, and just, figure out what people needed. And just, if people were on Twitter and they were talking about a topic and they needed help with something, and I could go on Google and research it and be like, oh, here, I found an article that talks about that. Not necessarily plugging my own article, but actually giving genuine value to people. What some people do is they go on social media, they see that somebody's talking about something, and they immediately try to plug a link or something, check out my website, buy my stuff. And that doesn't really work, because people are tired of that. They get bombarded all day with advertising and stuff like that. So if you really want to build a brand, it's built around giving other people value instead of just trying to push your stuff on them.
Absolutely fantastic advice. Always give value wherever possible. Such good advice. So Carolina, what, if I may ask, what kind of books, podcasts, videos give you inspiration to do what you do?
Well, some of the first people that I followed were Mike Dillard and Perry Belcher, Jonathan Budd, Mark Hoverson. Those were the first online entrepreneurs that I followed, that really inspired me to position my brand, and they got me familiar with the You Inc. concept of you being a brand, you being a company. And today I listen a lot to and watch and follow Gary Vaynerchuk quite a bit. I think he might be tired of me posting on everything he posts. But it's cool. I was able to do an interview with him. I also follow Grant Cardone, also got an interview with him. I try to model the people that I admire, and also I try to get close to them, because I understand that proximity is power. So the closer you can get to the people that you look up to, the better. And as for books, I also love Tony Robbins. I go to all his seminars. I'm going to another of his seminars in Amsterdam in 2 months. No, actually less. Next month, end of June. Russell Brunson. I love Russell Brunson. I listen to their podcasts as well. And I also try to take a lot of time to create my own content. I think a lot of people are too focused on consuming content, which I do, And I think you should never stop learning. I always say that, never stop learning. But there's a moment where you should be investing a little more time on creating your own content than just consuming other people's. Some people are kind of addicted to learning, because it generates, I don't know, endorphins or something in your brain, and some people are happy just learning, and so they never implement anything.
Couldn't agree more. Definitely, there's most certainly a chunk of people that get stuck in paralysis by analysis, and the dopamine kick that you can get from the potential of learning instead of just taking action, which is often the key. I was listening to a podcast the other day by Joe Rogan interviewing Dan Pena, who's all about just taking a severe course of action and learning as you go, as opposed to doing academic learning. So it's probably about getting the balance right somewhere in between. So fantastic stuff. Great to hear the people that inspire you. So now that you're obviously a hell of a lot busier than you were a couple of years ago, what's the first hour of your day look like to make sure, what's your morning ritual to make sure you have a nice productive day?
Yeah, well, I used to get up and go straight to the computer, and that wasn't very good. It didn't make me very productive. I was like taking like random breaks during the day, and then the end of the day would come and I would be like, oh, but I didn't do all the things I wanted to do. And now I make sure that in the morning I take care of myself first. So I do some exercise, I make my green smoothie, and sometimes I read it in the morning, or sometimes I read before bed. But I think in the morning you should first focus on yourself instead of immediately checking email. Like, I try not to check my emails. I do check Facebook maybe before I even shower, right? But I used to also check all my emails before anything else. And I think that that turns you into a reactive person instead of a proactive one. So you're reacting to other people's demands, other people's messages, other people's emails. So at the beginning, of course, it's hard as an entrepreneur. You don't have somebody telling you what to do necessarily. You don't have a boss or something. You may have a coach. I do invest a lot in coaches, but ultimately you have to be your own. You're the only one who can discipline yourself. And when you learn not to live on other people's agenda and other people's demands, it starts getting a little better, and you really focus on what matters, on what's really important, and not what looks important but isn't. So that's usually how I start now. I start with myself, and then I go and check what's going on business-wise.
In the outside world. Absolutely fantastic. Great advice for anybody out there who wants to get more from their day. So what would be your favorite tech tool, Carolina, that you could not live without? What's your number one tool?
Tool or device or
you know what, you can give me whichever you prefer. What's the number one piece of technology? Let's say bar your laptop or your phone, like if it's a piece of software or something like that. What's the number one thing you couldn't live without?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, it's probably my phone. I mean,
well, let's say besides hardware.
Oh, I'm sorry. Besides hardware.
Yeah.
It's gotta be social media. I mean, I don't have like one specific, because I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Those are the ones, and Snapchat a little less than before, but those are the ones where I'm at the most. That's where I put my content. That's how people hear about me. So if I didn't have any of those apps, I would have a little trouble putting my message out there. Even more than my email database. I don't have a huge email list of people. So if I could probably get rid of my email list before I get rid of my social media. I get more attention from from media. So,
more traction, more action through the social media. Fantastic stuff. Yeah. That's great. So if you were to just break it down, what's your number one productivity hack, if you have one at all? Do you have any productivity hacks to get more from your day?
I'm actually working on those. I'm working with a coach right now from, Brandon Burchard. Yeah, he has a high performance coaching program, and I recently started working with a coach precisely for that reason, because I wasn't feeling very productive. getting too distracted. But one thing that I can provide, because I've taken courses on time management, and specifically there is one from Tony Robbins that is really, really good. It's called The Time of Your Life. I recommend it to anybody listening to this. Go on Tony Robbins' website and find a program called The Time of Your Life. And that program, it's an audio program, and it comes with a book, and kind of like a schedule, like, where you actually write stuff, not just use your phone calendar for everything, but it teaches you how to organize your to-do list so that it's no longer a to-do list, but it actually has a purpose. Because what most people do is they get up in the morning or the night before and they make a to-do list, and then the next day they expect to check out everything on that list, cross out everything. But in the end, all those things are just random things, and you have no idea which one is really contributing to a bigger purpose than the other one. So in order to be a little more productive, if you take your to-do list, what this program teaches you, it's actually 14 CDs, 10 hours. I cannot possibly summarize it, but there's one thing that I can share, is that it teaches you how to grab a to-do list and organize it by topics. And then those topics are not just topics, but each topic is associated to a purpose that you have for your life, whether it's your professional life or your personal life. So it also teaches you how to identify things that you put on your to-do list that, hey, maybe you don't have to do them. Maybe you should delegate them. Maybe you should push them till the next day. Maybe they're not as urgent as they look. So it's a really great program. And that's for me one of the biggest takeaways from it, is not having a to-do list anymore, but actually understanding that each little thing that you're doing every day is pushing towards something bigger.
Bigger
that
goal.
way you get more motivated
Absolutely.
to actually do it.
Yeah, fantastic. Keeps you on track. And Carolina, tell us, what do you feel gives you the edge or the drive to be successful? What motivates you?
For me, it's on one hand, it's obviously wanting a better lifestyle for myself, for my family, but it's also making an impact, leaving some kind of legacy, seeing that people take what I show them and they implement it and they get a result. Meeting, traveling. I love traveling, meeting all sorts of people from so many places. That really motivates me as well to keep doing well, so that I never have to tell myself, oh, that mastermind you want to go to, well, it's too expensive, you can't go to that one. So the reason I want to keep being even more successful is so that I never have any kind of limit, because all of those limits are self-imposed in the end. So it really drives me to surround myself with better quality people, and at the same time to see that I can impact other people's lives. And eventually, like a bigger goal of mine, a bigger motivation is to contribute to the planet and the environment and all those things. And you need some money for that.
Absolutely, and you're certainly on track to do that. So obviously we purposely keep our podcasts nice, short and sweet, so people can get in, get to know you, get the best bits of what you have to say. So we're going to finish up on one final question, Carolina, if we may. If you were to tell yourself one simple piece of advice before starting out in business to your younger self, what would that be?
It would be to take more action. I was very paralyzed for the first couple of years. I was learning a lot, but I was paralyzed when it came to taking massive action. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to feel that I already knew everything that I needed to know. And I know a lot of people listening to this might be in that situation where you're always getting ready to get ready, and you always feel that there's something else still missing. There's something missing. So let's get that right before I do my first webinar, before I do my first info product, et cetera, et cetera. And and so for me, that it was no different. I was getting a lot of courses and trying to learn and not implementing. So I would definitely tell myself to, hey, just do it. Just take action. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out the first time. You just try again.
Absolutely. Great advice, Carolina. Thank you so much. I encourage everybody to check you out online. Check out Carolina over on social media. Check out her website. We'll make sure to share it in the show notes. And Carolina, thank you so much for sharing your story with us here today. And we look forward to chatting to you again very, very soon.
Thank you.
All right, super stuff. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.